Hello, my darlings. Today is all about skirts. I would show you the other one, but it is currently on my child. She won't take it off. Okay, so my child watched Encanto. Oh my god, stop. Fell madly in love and was wearing this all the time. And so I looked at it and realized that it's a square. It's a very pretty square, and then they layered pieces on in this pattern to make it a bigger square, and then they cut pretty arcs to turn it into a circle, and it became a circle skirt. And so I decided I would like to try and figure out if I could do the same. So we have a big blue square, and we're sewing a decorative strip on each of the four sides of the big blue square. The skirt I'm trying to copy, of course, they sewed everything together white and then dyed it all at once, but I'm not doing that. And there were blue trim options, but the tiny human picked this one, and I think it looks very nice. Then we go all the way around again, wrap in the fabric so that all those raw fraying edges are trapped inside where they can't fray anymore. If we want the skirt to be a circle skirt and not a pretty square skirt with dangly corners, then we have to sew on the curvy bits that I eyeballed and cut out of the rest of the fabric. And it takes a little bit of fudging to get them to fit, because I am not a precise cutter. Alright, y'all. So I made a poor design decision early on in this process, and I knew it, and I decided it'd be fine, and I fudged my way out of it, or fudged my way into kind of making it work. There's a reason that all the skirts I make for myself are just tiered, gathered rectangles, right? But when I began on this, the world's longest hem, I realized, oh, I could have done this, and then that bad design decision suddenly goes away. So I'm going to finish the world's longest hem, and then I'm going to jump in on doing that on the green fabric that my baby dragged out to use as trim on this, the blue skirt. But I guess, like, insert video of me diagramming out the skirts here. Okay, so the pink one that I did not make was a not terribly large square, right? With pieces, very long rectangles, quilted on around it to make it a bigger square. Yeah? I think there was one more. But then anyway, and then 4 of that kind of shape, one sewn to each side, and suddenly it's a circle skirt, right? Then it had a circle cut out of the middle of it, and then it had a waistband like I did on the blue one, where the elastic and then the rest of the waistband hangs down, and that's where the circle skirt starts, right? Because the elastic, this band has to be big enough to get over your butt anyway, right? And then the blue one that I made was actually a pretty massive square. And then my child picked out a contrasting color because I didn't have a bunch of the same color to work with because the pink one was definitely dyed all in a lot, right? And so she picked out another color, and I made the square bigger. And then my arcing pieces were smaller than the resulting square. Which I fudged and actually turned out okay. And then it had the same style of waistband as the pink one, right? So then with the green one, I had the same size of square as the blue, actually, massive square. And then I took and I folded it in and did a little pin tuck. So then it's a detail in the same color, like the pink one. And it makes these seams make sense, which is nice. But I didn't have enough fabric, and so my 4 pieces, well, plenty long enough because the pin tucks made the square smaller, were a little shallow, and so that's why it's shaped different. But the child loves it. And again, because I was a little short on fabric, this hole was smaller, and it was just enough fabric to get around the elastic for the waistband, which is why it's shorter. So now the child has enough skirts, which is a wonderful thing because she has apparently switched over from wearing dresses all the time to wearing skirts and loose blouses all the time. Yay! Hey, you gonna help me with the skirts? Hey, I've got sunflower seeds. Little jerk face. Little jerk face. I want love. Come here. No, don't mingle the skirts. Come, have snacks. Who's the softest beastie in the whole wide world? So I'm doing more or less a pin tuck the whole way around. There we go. That first square, because then it's a nice detail and it makes the darn thing the size it needs to be. And so that this thing stays more or less a consistent size. Hold on. I'm using that piece of cardstock so I don't go wandering all over the place. I'm just checking in periodically. Whoop. And the side I already sewed that down, so it won't cause any trouble. I was going to use a business card that came with a used book I got recently, but I couldn't find that, so... Oh, it's, I bought soap online. It's very nice olive oil soap. And that was the thank you card that came with it. And I just drew a line where I thought my line of stitches ought to go, and said that it would be that far up from the edge of the fabric. This is going pretty quickly, like shiny new ideas often do. So now I'm sewing on the long curved bits that will transform our enormous square into an enormous circle. And then, once everything is folded under and tidied up, hold on, the former corners of the square will look like that inside the circle. See? It's pretty. Made a waistband that is big enough to get over the tiny human's widest point. The elastic is not in it yet. Folded it into quarters, and now I'm going to cut a curve right here, and this will get gathered a little bit into the waistband. Hello, is somebody helping? So, oh, and then what I sincerely hope is the circle that I just cut out of the middle of this piece of fabric I put a lot of work into will probably become pockets, patch pockets. What I want to know is how such an enormous piece of fabric can end up with a not terribly long skirt. How? Opal would like us to tell us all how she feels about elastic. How do you feel about elastic? Did you just toss it on the floor? Again? How'd that happen? We'll blame Opal the rabbit. And now we have the glamorous task of backstitching the elastic into the waistband. So now I'm just sewing in the elastic for the blue skirt, but I'm doing it just a little bit different. This is old elastic out of another skirt that got repurposed because it didn't fit right. So here, the elastic's up here, and the waistband continues down, and then the skirt will go on down here, which ought to be an easy way to add a little bit of length to this kind of skirt, since it's got to be big enough to go over your butt anyway, right? So, and here we have the child who is thrilled to be participating, and we have the skirt that started it all. You see the squares? They're very exciting. And the longer waistband to make things longer. Oh wow. This one is longer than I thought it was. Yes? Is it swooshy?
Yep.
Was it caught on the bookcase?
Yep.
Again, my child is thrilled with me. This one's different. I don't know why this one's different. It's very pretty, though. Back up, Ocean. Swirl. Or floof your skirts or something. Whee! Okay, this one's also very swooshy. So today, oh, there you are. So today, bonus footage is book picks. This is what I'm reading currently because it's a reread. It's a repeat reread because I was craving it specifically. Content warning. It deals with difficult subjects, but it's amazing and beautifully written. And then this birthday present just showed up yesterday. I'm so excited about it. I need to get you further away so you can, because it's an enormous book. Ah, there we go. So, but it's so pretty. And obviously something like 5,000 years of textiles is going to be superficial by necessity, but it's not as overwhelmingly Eurocentric as this sort of thing usually is, and oh my goodness, the pictures are so pretty. And I haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited about it, so you'll have to look at it now. Look at that, it's amazing. So, more textbook than coffee table book, but nonetheless looks fascinating.